Hi, my name is Sundaresh. We are learning how to service the vehicle cooling system and its components. Till now, you learned how to drain the coolant from the cooling system, clean the cooling system, test thermostat and replace the cooling system parts like hoses. Okay, replacing the coolant is coming under general scheduled maintenance. The manufacturers recommend to carry out the scheduled maintenance as per the scheduled maintenance. Sometimes the quality of the coolant is bad even before it attains its life period. In such a case, we have to check the coolant periodically and need to replace if it is bad. Replacing coolant involves preparation of coolant, refilling in the cooling system and bleeding air from the cooling system. Now I am going to demonstrate the preparation of the coolant, refilling the system and air bleeding. At the end of this demonstration, you will be able to prepare coolant, fill coolant in the system, bleed cooling system.
Tools required. Trainee's Toolkit. Equipment required. A vehicle in running condition. Materials required. Measuring jar. Funnel. Spatula. Antifreeze solution. Distilled water. Soft cloth. Now, we are going to learn how to prepare coolant. Before that, you should know the types and selection of antifreeze solution. There are two types of antifreeze used in the vehicles. The first type is an ethylene glycol-based coolant. The second type is propylene glycol-based coolant. Before deciding the type of coolant used in a particular vehicle, check with the manufacturer's recommendation and decide which coolant you require. For example, if the manufacturer recommended ethylene glycol-based coolant, then get ethylene glycol antifreeze. Refer to the service manual and decide how much coolant you need to prepare. And also decide the total required quantity. Now I am going to demonstrate how to prepare coolant. For example, you need to prepare a 70:30 mixture of water and antifreeze. You got this information from the manual. The total quantity of coolant you need is 9.8 liters, say approximately 10 liters. Then, for 70:30 ratio, you need 7 liters of distilled water and 3 liters of antifreeze. Note, here you should be cautious that you have to use only distilled water, which means demineralized water, not tap water or mineral water, because minerals in the water react with the metals and form sediment and rust. Now, take a measure jar. Take a container to prepare the coolant mixture. Get 7 liters of distilled water in the container by measuring with measuring jar. Get 3 liters of antifreeze in the container. Stir the mixture properly with spatulas. Now, the coolant in the ratio 70:30 mixture of water and antifreeze is ready. Similarly, you can prepare the coolant in a ratio of 50:50. Make sure that some coolant manufacturers provide pre-mixed coolant also. If you use pre-mixed coolant, then there is no need to add distilled water. You can use it as it is. Before filling the coolant, check all the hose clamps are clamped properly. Check upper and lower radiator hose and heater hose clamps. Turn the heater knob in the dashboard in maximum position. Place a funnel on the radiator filler neck. Mix the coolant properly. Pour the coolant in the radiator through the filler neck. Fill the coolant till it is full up to the radiator filler neck. Fill the coolant in the coolant recovery tank too. Now, start the engine and run idle. After a few seconds, the coolant level slowly goes on decreasing and top up the coolant to make it full. After some time, the coolant level will now reduce and you can find the air bubbles come out from the radiator filler neck. Allow the engine to run till the air bubble will stop. Now, stop the engine and tighten the radiator pressure cap. Start the engine again and allow it to run for a few minutes. Check the level of the coolant in the radiator recovery tank. Suppose if it reduces, then top up to the maximum level. Usually, this method is followed by the technicians in which the vehicles has radiator higher than the engine, but few vehicles have the radiator lower than the engine. In such case, a bleeder screw is provided near the thermostat valve assembly. Find out the bleeder screw. Now, place the funnel on the radiator filler neck. Turn the heater knob in full on position. Loosen the bleeder valve slightly. Fill the radiator with coolant. Fill the coolant recovery tank also. After filled, stop filling and start the engine. Allow the engine to run till it reaches normal operating temperature. Once the engine is reaching average operating temperature, the thermostat opens and the level starts decreasing. Fill again till it shows full. Now, loosen the bleeder screw slightly and allow the coolant with air bubbles comes out. Allow till only coolant comes through the bleeder valve. Now, tighten the bleeder screw fully. Stop the engine. Remove the funnel and fit the radiator pressure cap on the filler neck. Again, start the engine and run for a few minutes. Check the level of the coolant in the coolant recovery tank. Top up the coolant if any level reduces in the tank. Close the recovery tank cap. Now, your vehicle has been filled with new coolant and ready for running.
Now, let's have a recap of what we have learned in this topic. We have learned how to drain the coolant from the cooling system, clean the cooling system, replace the cooling system parts like hoses, fill coolant in the system, bleed cooling system. Thus, we have learned how to refill the new coolant in the vehicle properly. Hope you have clear on this. Carry out this exercise with the help of your instructor.